everybody, this is Patty Bennett with PattyStamps.com. I've been a demonstrator since 1995 and I love stamping and sharing, especially with the demonstrators in my group, the Love to Stamp group. Those are the demonstrators that have signed up with me or with someone in my downline. We are going to be making these cute projects in our upcoming meeting. Probably when you're watching this, we will have had our meeting. This is going to be a virtual meeting online through a webinar service. We are going to have fun meeting with everybody's face showing on the computer and stamping together, sharing, hearing inspiring stories. It's going to be a lot of fun. So what I had my demonstrators do was to purchase these two products, the Butterfly Basics stamp set and this Artisan Embellishment Kit. They are on the same page in the Occasions catalog for 2015. And I told them if they purchased these products, I would send them a little packet of supplies. So they're going to get this packet of supplies in the mail to make these three projects. So I just wanted to walk you through a couple of tips on some of these projects. So the first project that I'm going to demonstrate and that they will be making is this card, and this is gorgeous. I love this. I saw some ideas on Pinterest and I kind of collaborated a few ideas together to come up with this. This is a folded standard size Calypso Coral card with a piece of crisp cantaloupe paper behind that and then Whisper White with some stamping and sponging on here. Now each kit is going to receive a Stampin' sponge and a spritzer, and you can use either one for putting the color on here with the stencil, and I'll show you that. So what I would recommend is to start out by cutting your sponge into quarters, because that way you'll get 4 colors out of each Stampin' sponge. You can certainly cut it in more than 4 pieces, but I find this to be the most manageable because I like to hold on to it this way and sponge into the ink. So we're going to be using 2 colors for sponging today. And you can also fill your spritzer with about 2/3 or 3/4 full of rubbing alcohol and then a few drops of reinker if you prefer to spritz color that way. So that's an option. That'll be in your kit. So the stencil that I'm talking about comes in your Artisan Embellishment Kit. And this is what you're going to find. There are 2 beautiful laser cut pieces here. They are sort of a crumb cake color on one side and Whisper White on the other. And we're going to use one of them on one of the cards, so I'm going to set that aside, but we're going to use the other one as a mask for stenciling. So you want to pull out this little part of the supply packet. There's a Whisper White envelope, the folded card, the crisp cantaloupe panel, the Whisper White panel, and this little piece of designer paper from Something Borrowed. So those are the supplies we're going to use. I'm going to start with the Whisper White piece, and you want to work on some scrap paper, so just make sure that you have a piece of your grid paper or something on your tabletop. I am using Sahara sand. You could adapt this to really any color. I just really liked the softness of that Sahara sand in the background. So you're going to ink up your sponge, and I just do that by tapping. You could also rub or whatever you want. And sometimes you might just want to test it on your scrap paper. Just make sure it's not too dark or too light. Okay, so just get some ink on there. And then I placed this stencil across the top this way, and I'm just lightly pouncing. I don't think that you should rub because I think that could very well catch and snag these intricate designs. So you just want to pounce a bit, and then you can pick it up and see that you really do have quite a bit of pattern on there. Let me show you that close up. It doesn't appear at first that you're getting much pattern on there, but it really does. So then what I'm going to do is just sort of loosely right here realign a piece of that flower, and it's not absolutely perfect, but it's close enough. And then I am just going to sponge a little more color down here at the bottom, down into the corner. And that's it. I am not going to give it any more color than that. So just a little bit around here. And then the other steps on this card were to stamp this fern from the Butterfly Basics set, and I did that in Pear Pizzazz. You could substitute really any green that you like. It would work fine. And I stamped it twice, and the second one is without inking. So that's kind of important to do to get that nice little faded look. The birthday greeting is also in that set, so that is stamped in Calypso Coral. And then under here we have that little scrap that I showed you earlier from the Something Borrowed. And what I did with that was I just ripped the edge and then I sponged the entire thing just to give it a little kind of a vintagey, rusticy look. Okay, and that is going to be applied with snail on top of the card. And then also in that artisan embellishment kit, you're going to find these beautiful flowers. I cut off 3 of them to place on the card. You could really do as many as you like. So I'm going to trim there. I don't care for this extra netting that's in between the flowers, so I like to just trim that off, and that's just total preference. You can leave it on there if you like. I know it's a nice look. It totally would work with the netting on there, but I just kind of personally like it without. And then you could apply this with a number of different adhesives. Lots of different adhesives would work for this. I found that just using my snail and putting a strip of snail across there and then just pressing that on, that held totally fine. And this has been on there for over a week and it's really not going anywhere. Also in your little kit, you're going to find a few inches of this Sahara sand lace trim. And I did what I call finger pleating. I don't know if that's exactly a word, but when I placed my snail on here, I set some down and then I just kind of wrinkled it up like this, and I think that's called finger pleating. Somebody who knows more might want to leave me a comment on here just to let me know if that's really what it's called. And so that just kind of ruffles it up. And then I added more snail on the top of that, and I added the flower trim. And then when you put a little bit of snail on here and attach that down, it's going to hold very well. You can see that I added a little pearl to the edge there. Those are also in the Artisan Embellishment Kit. So then our top panel is basically complete. To sponge these flowers on the crisp cantaloupe piece, you're going to grab a different piece of your sponge and your Calypso Coral ink pad. Put some ink on your sponge. And then I just used about an inch or so of this template, the one that I've already used for sponging. You want to save your other one for your card. And I sponged the color through there. And then I moved it down, and again just sort of lining up a few of those pieces of the rose there, and this doesn't have to be perfect. If you're concerned about this moving on you, a piece of washi tape is really great for holding down your paper or your stencil. So there you have that border, and then you'll take your other piece and apply it to the top there, and then that beautiful border will show through. So once again, here's the first completed card. So let's take a look at the second project in the packet. You will want to pull out these supplies. It's a crumb cake note card, an embossed piece of crumb cake, a piece of pink pirouette, and a tag that's already punched with the note tag punch. This piece of crumb cake was already embossed. I love this new pretty flower embossing folder. Isn't it pretty? I just love that detail. So that's already embossed for you. And to apply it to your crumb cake note card, I highly recommend using Stampin' Up! Fast Fuse for that. And I'm going to link right up here to my video on using Fast Fuse in case you haven't used it and maybe you've found it frustrating, because there is a little learning curve to it. So what I like to do is to press down and then make on all four sides. I've added the adhesive, and then just place this piece on. Then this is where you're going to use that other pretty template that we did not sponge on. So remember, I said there were two of these, and I highly recommend keeping one as a sponging template and using the other one on a card. So I have chosen to do the white side, but let me just show you. This is really pretty either way. So when you put the pink pirouette underneath, you get a pretty soft pink look, or you can flip it and you just get a really different look. So let me show you on there the difference. Isn't either way really pretty? So you can do either one on this card. I found that mini glue dots worked the best for me for applying this piece to the pink pirouette. And a tip on mini glue dots, you only want to peel off this outer piece just to uncover a couple dots at a time. You don't want to just unroll this because you'll have dots everywhere. And my personal favorite way to apply glue dots is to grab one with the tip of my paper snips and then to apply it to the item like that. So what I did was I just applied one to each of the four corners, and then I did about 3 on the thicker areas inside there, and that allowed me to adhere it down to my pink piece. So to finish off this card, you're going to use one of the doilies that came in the kit, and I've just got about 1/3 of the doily underneath there. And then I applied a little more adhesive, put some more of those beautiful flowers that come in that artisan kit, stamped the tag with the, there is nothing in the caterpillar that tells you it's going to be a butterfly. I love that saying. Isn't that neat? Stamped that in Calypso Coral, and when I stamped the butterfly, I stamped it off onto my scratch paper first so that it would be lighter. You could also use a lighter color. And then this beautiful little embellishment here also comes in the artisan kit. Let me just show you this packet. Some beautiful pieces in here that you can select from. So you can put any piece on there to finish off the card. And that's really it. Super simple, but nice and elegant. And the third project we are making together today is this project, and this is actually the box from our artisan embellishment kit. How fun is that? I was just looking at this box as I had used up the supplies, and I thought, well, wouldn't this be fun to put a few little chocolates, maybe a few small 3x3 note cards? I just thought this would be a fun little thing, so I thought, let's not throw it away, let's cover it. And it just so happens that a 4-inch wide strip of designer paper by 12 inches long fits perfectly around here. So in your kit, you will find a piece of painted blooms paper. Everybody will have a different assortment because there are different patterns, and you can use either side. And I just wrapped it around and adhered it. I did adhere it with the Fast Fuse. I really like using that, but snail will work, or you could use sticky strip. And I found that if I just used my bone folder to just burnish the edges, that worked fine. Or you can get it out and score it, at 4 inches and then 1 inch and 4 inches and 1 inch. You can do that all the way around as well, and then you'll have pre-scored marks. But either way works. And then to embellish around the paper, I selected this beautiful lace from this kit to tie around mine because it went with this piece of paper really well. However, if you receive one of these in your packet, I think that this gorgeous plum or raspberry ribbon would look great on that one. Really, any of them would be fine. So you can use any of the pieces you want to tie around there. And before I tied it, I used the second doily to just wrap around the side, and I applied that with snail, and then I tied my ribbon all the way around. You'll also find a tag that you can stamp with the stamps in your set, and then I embellished it with that beautiful resin flower on the bottom, and those are attached with dimensionals, Stampin' dimensionals. So those are our 3 projects. Hope you've enjoyed our online meeting and our 3 projects. Thanks for being a part of my team, and I'll see you in March for our next meeting.